The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044. Now, David White.
And welcome, everybody, to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me, your humble, lovable, squeezably soft host. Once more into the breach do we go, dear friends. And what do we have today? Another day, another up day. 2139.88. Volume has been light for the last few days. Volume is again light and tepid. 1.95 billion shares, which is probably 350 million, 400 million light for even being kind of average, much less being strong. So we are going up higher. It is a lighter volume. I don't know if you can say anything else. Lighter volume on Friday, lighter volume today. Does have to give you some pause if you're thinking about highs coming in. And we'll talk about that a little bit today. What else can you say out here? I guess that's it. Anyway, we always like to meet about this time of day.
The following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
It does. You got to have our 24 little sound effect in there. But what else do we have going on? Well, I've got a lot of news, so what we're going to do is get right to the history and then get into the news because there's a ton of it today. And as always, when news breaks, I'm here to fix it.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
It is history repeating. On this day in 1986, the beginning of the financial bubble that would blow up in 2000 and 2008, 2007 and 8, started. Financial engineering took a quantum leap forward as Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac offers the first issue of stripped mortgage-backed securities through Goldman Sachs and Company. Now bond buyers can buy either interest-only or principal-only bonds, enabling them to bet aggressively on the direction of interest rates. And guess what can they do? Soon they will be packaging rather dubious loans together called CDLs and making a weapon of mass destruction to blow up some, 20 years later? Is that 20 years? Yeah, 20 years later. So that's it. About everything you can think of right there. But a lot of times bombs don't go off in the next couple of minutes. Sometimes they have to be planted, given a lot of water and feed, and eventually they will rip you apart. On this day in 1986. For news, had a lot of email during the show and after the show on Friday for our Tech Insider issue and also the Friday show at 2 o'clock. The first email that I'm answering here was a question about why I said you probably wanted to wait till this morning and see how things develop. And that was because the gentleman that called in had an option. And I said, well, basically they were giving you a nickel on the in-the-money option. And you had a whole week on it. That premium would come back eventually. I haven't seen how it did today. I thought that the stock would go to about $14.50. It got to $14.45. So pretty close there. But my game theory is this, and that is, it goes back to Jesse Livermore's quote, the successful trader has to fight these two deep-seated instincts. He has to reverse what you might call his natural impulses. Instead of hoping, he must fear. Instead of fearing, he must hope. He must fear his losses may develop into a much bigger loss and hope his profits become a much bigger profit. He was sitting on an option that had literally no premium going into the weekend. To me, it's not, you could still look, you could get and lose some of the end of the money. But to me, if you've got a stock that everybody thinks just can't go any farther, the thing is you can lose a little. or you could make a huge amount more percentage-wise. You just have to hope that your profits become bigger profits. And unfortunately, a lot of times you leave a little early. Today, I don't think it made much of a difference. But if you're wondering why, if I'm sitting on a decent profit, if I'm not looking at premiums that are going to melt because there aren't any, they're already gone, I have to go with the hope of a much bigger profit. Just a little bit of game theory on options going into expiration week. Also had a response about quantum computing. Some people wanted me to give maybe just a little bit more color on why quantum computing will be a big deal in the coming years and why I'll be covering it in the Tech Insider. Probably another good example is a Rubik's Cube. If you actually try to figure out all the permutations of a 3x3 cube, you find out that there's 43 quadrillion of them. Can you imagine that on just a standard cube with each side, that you could literally have 43 quadrillion? That's 43 with 18 zeros behind it. Well, quantum computing would allow you basically to go through all those almost in, if you had 9 by 9 by 9, so it's 18, that's 27. If you had 27 qubits, you could actually go through all of those in one clock cycle of a quantum computer. And that would be 43 quadrillion different combinations. Now, this is a particular branch of mathematics that is very hard to solve using traditional computer techniques. I mean, if you have to brute force it, if you have to actually go through all the combinations. Of course, there's algorithms to make this faster. In fact, there's actually people that compete. They're called quick cube guys, and they actually compete to see who can do one at the minimum maximum, no matter how you actually rotate the cubes. It will take no more on a 3x3 cube than 20 moves, actually optimized moves, to solve a Rubik's Cube. You want to feel stupid. Of course, if you sit down and look at it, there is a method to the madness of these folks, but most of them get it down to somewhere between 23 and 25 moves without figuring it out post haste. And there are a lot of computers out there. What quantum computers will do is allow big problems that are fairly intractable at the moment to be solved. But it made me think of the Rubik's Cube, made me think of just how many combinations there are in just a standard Rubik's Cube. And it gives you an idea, just, you got an 8x8 surface. You got 3 different sides, or what's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 different sides. Anyway, when you get down to it, a lot of different things, but quantum computers will work very well on these big kind of intractable problems where there's nothing but brute force to solve them, and something we really can't do today. But it's kind of a good example out there, just how far even a simple Rubik's Cube can become complex. We'll be back after this break.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
Tiger TV is an exciting way to experience TFNN programming. See high-definition video giving you crystal clear charts, as well as seeing some of the faces of TFNN's highly acclaimed financial experts with crisp, full-fidelity sound. Catch Tom O'Brien, John Logan, Steve Rhodes, Basil Chapman, Larry Pesavento, Think or Swim, David White, Andy Hecht, and Daryl Martin in crystal clear, high-definition audio and video. Tiger TV, exclusively at TFNN.com. Platinum, grains, crude oil, gold, copper, cattle, hogs, gasoline, natural gas, coffee, cotton, cocoa, and sugar. These are just some of the commodities mentioned in the most recent issue of Andy Hecht's Techno-Mental Commodity Report. Andy publishes his weekly newsletter every Thursday morning, where he breaks down the commodity market and provides his subscribers with specific trading recommendations based on his trading methodology. By signing up for a free trial to the Techno-Mental Commodity Report, you'll get a full 30 days to try out this powerful newsletter service and see for yourself the types of trades Andy has recommended for his subscribers. When you sign up for a 30-day free trial, you're under no obligation to pay anything. And should you decide to continue, you will lock in the low rate of only $79 a month. Sign up right now for the Techno-Mental Commodity Report and make sure you're ready to catch the next big trade in commodities. For more information and to get started today, visit the front page of TFNN.com. Many of our new listeners have heard about the Tiger's Den, but wondered, what exactly is it? The Tiger's Den is a lively community where professional traders and investors can meet, exchange ideas and information in a comfortable, moderated atmosphere. Hear all of your favorite TFNN shows, plus see all the charts as they happen live during those shows and have access to all those charts. You can test drive the Tiger's Den absolutely free for 30 days. It will greatly enrich your knowledge of these markets. Details on the Tiger's Den are on the front page of TFNN.com. Dave takes your phone calls now. Toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-445-1044.
And Airbus is kind of interesting. You got the big air show going on in England this week. And I had to admit to somebody I was talking to in the den that I had a failure of imagination. I was pretty sure and had written in the newsletter that I thought more than not that money that was leaving Europe because of the British exit would come here to the United States. And was there probably a better business than Boeing to bet that the money coming out of Airbus would go into Boeing? You know, some of the questions people really didn't talk about very well or expand on. But if I'm Airbus and I'm depending on the banks in London and the banks in Dusseldorf, which I think is where the big banks are there, who's going to finance the Airbus going forward? Are they going to be total creeps to the English, and does Airbus just go away? I mean, it's a consortium, mostly the French, mostly the Germans. So are they going to extend a certain obnoxious finger as England leaves, and then what happens to Airbus? I have to say that I think that's probably put under Boeing and probably in there for a while. And I want to kick myself because, in retrospect, this seems rather an easy idea to get your arms around. There are probably other businesses like this. I'll start trying to think about it tonight. But, you know, maybe there's some other places where financing and inter-country cooperation are much bigger problems. And as the Brussels bunch decides to cry and wet their diapers, I think it just makes it better, especially for some U.S. companies like Boeing and others, especially when you're talking about big financing issues and a lot of planes being on the hook today going to China and a few other countries. So Yeah, they can. The question is, who's going to back that financing? If you don't get much of that money and you're England, are you going to throw a bunch of cash in? I mean, if they buy the planes now, they're not going to be delivered for 2 or 3 years. That's what I'm talking about. You need the financing actually to start now. The planes will be delivered and paid for, start to be paid for once they're delivered. There may be a deposit. But who starts putting all this cash up now to continue building planes if this all blows up and there's nobody to actually finish all this? There are a bunch of parts laying around for planes because the British exit decided to, everybody decided to stomp around now that the English are leaving. And I think that's probably the bigger problem with that are these huge entanglements between England, France, and Germany, and how these things eventually play out. Just a thought out there, but I think there's a reason why Boeing is going to be pretty strong for a while. I know that we still have some arguments here in the United States about whether or not the United States government should underwrite Boeing, but I have a feeling that that argument just got a lot better for the people that said that we don't have to if Airbus does run into problems. Musk said that he had a secret plan, secret master plan. Again, occasionally he's been chastised by the Securities and Exchange Commission for maybe embellishing the truth or saying everything is big. They told him to quit tweeting much, and I'm wondering if he does not get his hand slapped again on this, because it basically says he's got something great coming, but he won't say what. And that kind of what the SEC called reckless in the past may come home to bite him. Of course, Musk is knee-deep in new deaths from yet another crash last week. Why it was on autopilot. In aviation, which has been going on for since 1908 or 1906, whatever it was, Mr. Wright brothers. But there are a few things that you can see forward, a few things you can't engineer past, and then sometimes there's just a failure of imagination. You can't think of the problem if you're a computer programmer or even a design engineer building something like a car. And there are going to be a certain amount of deaths attributable to your technology. I keep on wondering what and who is going to be responsible as more and more people drive these cars with these new features that are not kind of fully shaken out. The question is, do you want to beta test your life? And yeah, that is a very interesting question. Don't be surprised if the SEC comes around and starts slapping Mr. Musk just a little harder this time as he continues to try to stomp out anybody that would say that there is a problem with his business plan for Tesla and Solar City. There are some new IPOs. One looks rather big. It's the first big IPO, I think, of this year. It's a $1 billion bank IPO for the first Hawaiian bank. But I haven't spent much time on that. Maybe next week or the week after that, it will come. I did notice that there were a couple of blank check IPOs coming out this week. Occasionally, it's worth getting into what some of these companies are, because people will occasionally ask me, what does this company do? And they'll say it's called a blank check. In fact, I got that question over the weekend. A blank check company is a development stage company that either does not have an established business or a business plan. Basically, a guy says that I'm going to do this or that or the other. I've got this business plan, but if we tell everybody about the business plan, other people will be working on it while we're going public and raising the cash. What we're going to do is just do this blank check company, and that means that we can spend the money for anything we feel we want to. We can go buy other companies, we can build stuff, but we don't have to tell anybody anything. We don't have to tell them snot. it's they're kind of run as penny stocks out there, and some of them are complete frauds. So you have to know what's going on inside of these. But a popular version of this is called a special purpose acquisition corporation, i.e., to buy somebody out. A bunch of people pool their money. If you thought pools were something that went away in the 1930s, think again. There are dark pools out there, and there's SPAC pools out there. But they form a blank check company with the sole purpose of acquiring other companies or companies. So know that sometimes when you turn across a public company, you wonder what it is. Sometimes it'll say in there that it's a blank check company. If you go back to the IPO, it certainly will say what it is. It doesn't always say out there, but it can be just about anything. It's one of these companies that it's very tough to buy the shares of anyway, but some people run across them from time to time, and they don't tend to trade a lot. Or sometimes they do, but they're kind of a black bag, so don't worry about them. They're not for you. We'll be back after this.
The Path of Least Resistance is David White's daily trading newsletter, and if you're looking for active trading ideas, then now's a perfect time for a 30-day free trial to this powerful daily trading advisory service. David uses his years of trading experience to offer his subscribers his trading ideas each morning in his Path of Least Resistance newsletter. Using a combination of equity trades along with options, David keeps his subscribers up to date with all pertinent market information with intraday afternoon updates when warranted. Don't miss out on this great chance to get a 30-day free trial to David's daily newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, with no obligation to pay anything. David has been delivering solid recommendations for his subscribers recently, and if you'd like to see the type of newsletter he delivers every morning, then visit the front page of TFNN and you'll find The Path of Least Resistance under Trading Newsletters. For all the details and to start your 30-day free trial today, log on to TFNN.com now. Biotech is booming, but for how long? Whether you think the biotech bull has room to run or has run its course, trade LABU or LABD. Directions Daily S&P Biotech 3 times bull and bear ETFs. Visit directioninvestments.com/biotech today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC. Has the current market volatility continued to stop you out of trades when the market spikes against you? Now is the perfect time to open up an account with Nadex. Nadex, the North American Derivatives Exchange, is a brand new, completely regulated Chicago-based exchange, and unlike most other exchanges, Nadex allows you to trade directly through them with direct market access when using their completely free trading platform, which also features real-time charts and full customization capability. One of the advantages of trading with Nadex in volatile markets is that your risk is always capped and you have the ability of keeping your trades open even when the market spikes against you. Nadex is completely brand new with a line of unique trading products that are unavailable anywhere else. See how it works at nadex.com. That's NADEX.com. Or click on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Futures and options trading involves risk and may not be appropriate for all investors.
This segment is brought to you by Think or Swim. For more information, just click the Think or Swim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And some more thoughts on GE. There's some comments in the den out here. My question is, the statement was the EU will support an EU company. I'm wondering if the EU will support a half EU company. Will they try to stick it to England, where all the Rolls-Royce engines are built, and buy GEs just to extend the middle finger to them for leaving the EU? there is a ton of room for palace intrigue. I wish there was a spell checker for the den. I couldn't think of how to spell intrigue. I did it phonetically, and I know it's wrong. The Trans-Pacific Partnership, we've heard a lot about this. I didn't know exactly what the effects would be, but a lot of discussions over the last week now that some of the documents have leaked for what's truly in it. And again, this is a vast and huge push of U.S. sovereignty to other countries where our U.S. copyrights would no longer prevail. And looking through this, I think, especially since we are a content creating company, some of the things would be good, but most of them would be extremely bad and odorous. Just on this part of the TPP, I would have to say that it is bad news for the United States and bad news for many in software and copyright protection. We would no longer be able to define our own destiny as to what is copyrightable, what is not, and what is fair use. So I'm saying ixnay on the AMSCRAE for the Trans-Pacific Partnership, at least on this part. It would be horrible for Silicon Valley. And now that this is leaked, I think it's starting to get around. You might find a lot more people in California against this than once were for it. Anyway, that's, one last thing out here. I know a lot of people have talked about Bitcoin in the past out here at approximately 1,800 hours UTC. For those people in Lutz, Florida, that's about 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon in the Eastern time zone. The subsidy that Bitcoin networks use to compensate miners will drop from 25 cents to 12.5%, never to increase again. A lot of these people have spent huge amounts of money on building out computers to generate the cryptograms and solve the problems to get their coins. It is now twice as expensive to get the same amount of Bitcoins. I can't suspect that we're going to see any of those people spending huge amounts of cash turning electricity into some money. And there's some great videos of Chinese companies actually doing this with big server farms and fans, trying to blow the heat out the side of abandoned buildings where they put a lot of these computers in to do Bitcoin farming. But the heyday of Bitcoin farming is over, and the halvening, as they are calling it, starts tomorrow. My guess is that this will at least start to let Bitcoin have some kind of tradable movement instead of the wild, incredible Beanie Baby trading pattern that has occurred for the last few years. So might be a closer look at Bitcoin here now that it is settling down. It is a mad market. We got lots of stocks to look at today. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648. You can email me at path@tfnn.com, as some have done. I will answer your questions then or later, like I have it today on a great deal that came in over the weekend. But do that. And, of course, we're waiting for earnings tonight. They get kicked out after the bell tonight. The first one is Alcoa. It is up, and it already has some volume today with 22.5 million shares, which actually already breaks the June 23rd high. I'm pretty sure it was after tonight. It wasn't early today, was it? Everything I had said after the bell tonight. Let's look at the headlines. Did it come out already? Can't. Did it leak already? Nope. Stock climbs ahead of Q2 results. So I am right. It still is coming out here. Let's look and see what the shorts are looking at on this one. You know, Friday, you didn't have a lot of people shorting this thing. I was wondering. You had a lot of people that look like maybe they're blinking out of these candles of the 29th, a day that was heavily shorted, 37 million shares. When this thing kind of pulled back about 35, 40 cents on the 29th of last month. So, I don't know, all right, 29th of last month? Yeah, 29th of last month. So I don't know if there is a great deal there to be impugned, but this thing is, of course, filling its gap right now. And, of course, I'm not shorting any $10 stock out there, but it's going to be very interesting to see how at least the first big company in the S&P for earnings this cycle starts to come out. Some other stocks up here on very light volume, and I'm going to try to see how some of these things are working out today. These were the ones that I put in my newsletter this morning to start looking at. May 25th, $66.05 for Broadridge Financial Solutions. Symbol is BR. It broke it on Friday with 520,000 shares, or 1/3 the volume. Today, just 200,000 shares. Man, you got to start wondering about a handful of these. Cogent Communications, CCOI, another one that tried to go through its June 17th high. That was $41.93 with 640,000 shares. Did it with 620,000 shares. On Friday today, just 182,000 shares. Did we talk about, we talked a little bit about the S&P volume out here today, 2.12 billion shares. So volume is light. Going to be very interesting to see how this all plays out. Again, I can't be putting on any new positions in such a market as volume being this weak, as in both the indexes and individual stocks. But I'm going to see how a lot of these fare over the next couple of days as we go into expiration on Friday. The CME Group, the big broker dealers, December 7th, $100.08, 1.9 million shares. Tried to get into this a couple of times with a similar volume. On Friday, 1.47 million shares. Today, just 660,000 shares. So it kind of tells you that as we've gone to these new highs, or close to these new highs, not seeing a lot of volume in many of these stocks. Crocs, man, this thing's just way too cheap for me to short, so I wouldn't do it. But if you had gone long this thing, you're pretty much looking at about everything you should get. This gap down and left a big gap going back to October 1st with let's call it 6 million shares. And we're up on 350,000 shares as we go into those gaps. There may be a little bit more there out there, but man, if you were long down in the $7 range, time to adios. A little Spanish lingo there for you. We'll be back after this break.
If you're an active trader looking for that extra edge when it comes to trading and investments, then now is a great time to get a 2-week free trial to Tom O'Brien's daily market letter, Market Insights. Tom O'Brien's daily newsletter, Market Insights, comes out every market day at around 9:30 a.m. and provides Tom's daily commentary on the broad market, including the Dow, NASDAQ, and S&P, plus specific trade recommendations. There's even an update published most afternoons to keep you informed about the day's market activity. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock and option trade. With Market Insights, there's nothing left to guessing. For all the details and to get your 2-week free trial to Market Insights started today, visit TFNN.com.
Today, many commodities are trading at relative lows. And now you can take advantage with Everbank's new limited time, 5-year, market-safe currency comeback CD. This indexed and U.S. dollar-denominated CD offers 100% principal protection and is based on the equally rated performance of currencies of Australia, Canada, Chile, Mexico, and South Africa. These 5 countries are especially rich in commodities, and their respective currencies are poised to do well should commodity prices begin to recover. Keep in mind that no APY, or periodic rate of interest, is paid on the CD. Don't miss out on this innovative new financial opportunity. CDs must be opened and funded by the upcoming July 14th deadline. To apply online and learn more about the CD, including product terms and disclosures, visit everbank.com/TFNN now. This advertisement is sponsored content. Everbank is a member FDIC.
TFNN is excited to offer a brand new piece of market scanning software unlike anything the industry has ever seen. John Logan and his team have spent years developing their market profile tools to finally be able to release the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. And right now you can get a 2-week trial absolutely free just by visiting TFNN.com and providing us your name and email address. The TAS Profile Scanner Plus is the premier market profile-based scanner in the industry. Powered by the acclaimed TAS proprietary algorithms, this feature-rich scanner is a standalone desktop software that instantly filters over 2,500 global financial markets such as stocks, ETFs, commodity futures, and Forex. Within 3 minutes of signing up, you can have the software downloaded and running on your computer with a complete roadmap of market indicators and inflection points to trade off using the TAS Profile Scanner Plus. Sign up today and try this amazing piece of software by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by TFNN. Test drive all the newsletters for free at TFNN.com.
And I had an email here from Jack. Jack did not say where he's from, so he is from Lutz, Florida. Had just a question about a press release from Intel coming out. And, you know, this thing has been off a rocket off the bottom, back at $30.44. The press release basically states that they're going to change the name of the mobile processors. I don't think it's actually that much. I don't think the press release actually had anything to do with the movement out here. I think it has to do with the upbeat demeanor of the executive staff as they continue to get very close to shipping new server-based chips with new features from their acquisition of Altera and a handful of other new products coming out the door. But I'm going to say that Intel certainly looks like it's going to come up and say hello to its little friends back here up on December 29th, $35.59. Of course, you can look at also October 23rd at $35.03, but we're just 50 cents away. I think we're close enough that we're going to get into those probably tomorrow or the next day, and that's going to start telling us how some of these stocks are doing. What do we have out here? FLIR, which stands for Forward Looking Infrared Radar. For you folks at home, I used to have one of their great little cameras that was an infrared camera that I loved. Can't remember if it died or I sold it. Don't have it anymore anyway. But cool cameras, especially if you're trying to find hot spots on circuit boards and that kind of stuff. Now, if we're looking for hot spots, it's not in FLIR today. June 13th at $31.68 with 880,000 shares. Today, just a little less than 300,000 shares. And even on Friday, just 400,000 shares as we've gotten into these highs. Now, these aren't backing off, and it will have a great deal to do with how earnings are received. I don't see a lot of clues on AA. In fact, we talked about it with Andy last week on Wednesday, and he didn't have a lot of guidance on Alcoa. I know that there are a few people that have been asking about some of the 3D printing stuff that Alcoa is doing. And I would say that that business is so small right now that it is a drop in the bucket. Although one day it is very high margin stuff. It could become much bigger for them. But right now, there's just not enough call for 3D printing, what they called centered, and that means burnt aluminum 3D printing. Basically, they drop some aluminum dust down, heat it with a laser real quick, kind of melt it, and then drop some more powder down and melt it real quick with a laser. You kind of get the idea, and then they build it up. Just with metal instead of plastic, but it's called sintered, SCINT. Yeah, I think that's how it's pronounced or how it's spelled out there. Green Dot Corporation. This is the company, if I'm not mistaken, that does kind of a semi-credit card. Yeah, and it's kind of like mostly from Walmart, too. Fairly decent volume going back on May 12th, almost 1 million shares. $23.67 were the high. Into that today with 136,000 shares. Even Friday, just 276,000 shares. So we are breaking some highs out here with lighter volume, and why I am saying that I couldn't, even though we could be going up higher, the risk to reward out here is poor. I said poor, P-O-U-R, poor out here for many of these stocks at highs. One that has a little bit better volume is General Growth Properties, but still shy of its March 17th high, $30.30, 4.9 million shares. That is 9 million shares. A little bust through on Friday, of course, 700,000 shares short, and then, very light volume out here today. Would not be surprised to see a lot of these come back in. What is nice is the energy on the upside wasn't really that bad. It was fairly good. The May 19th low to this high actually had some fairly decent energy into it. It's just these last few days that we are not the kind of volume we saw back in March. Guidewire, GWRE, another one getting ready to hit some highs or test some highs. And of course, the volume in these is a little wimpy. Yes, wimpy. And what are we looking at? We're looking at the December 2nd kind of spike, $64.78, 1.4 million shares. Now, you've gotten into that candle on June 23rd with 1.6 million shares, and it instantly rejected it, got back down to the June 27th low at 56.88, and has now moved back up. But, man, the volume is not all that exciting. Friday only saw 473,000 shares, and today 170,000 shares. We have not broken that high, that December 2nd high, though, so still one to keep an eye on. HOLX, some of these stocks have been blown apart. That's the 28th of April. On this one, when it came down, I don't see a lot of volume on that day, so I'm wondering if this isn't some kind of split. I'll have to look at this one a little bit farther. But that day came down with 9 million shares. And maybe it's just the scale out here that's a little different. 1 million shares, 9 million shares. Really, 9 million shares? It is. I don't know what it is. 10 million shares. That was, scale just isn't that big. Don't know why. Anyway, big volume down, 10 million shares, so that makes sense now. That doesn't mean that there's some other ulterior thing going on out here. 2 million shares on Friday, 1.9 million shares, let's call it. Today, 1 million shares as it comes back into this gap area. And not the widest one out here, but certainly looks like a trading range back down to $32.64, which is the June 16th low. I had somebody in the opening show with John Logan bring up India's shares. This had already hit my scan, and that is the INDA, which is the India Index Fund. You've had 2 million shares at the April 19th high. You had 2.6 million shares on the June 8th high, and then you had 800,000 shares on the, today. So, again, a lot of these things, just 1.7 million shares, again, on Friday, and then no follow-through and no volume today with 800,000 shares. We'll have to look at this a little closely. Maybe it has something more to do with one day or split days between us and India's time zone. But if that continues tomorrow, it should be very problematic to see that kind of light volume breaking highs. Quanta Service is another one of these companies that blew up down on huge volume on the 16th of October. 24 million shares. Another wimpy. We're almost going to get, can I play wimpy twice in one show? We will find out, folks, after this brief commercial timeout.
Tom O'Brien's weekly gold letter, The Gold Report, gives complete and concise coverage of the entire gold market. Inside, you'll get Tom's commentary on gold, the dollar, the rand, the bond, the XAU, the HUI, and detailed coverage of nearly 25 mining stocks. He'll give you the entry price, price target, and stop price of each stock trade. The Gold Report is a long-term newsletter where the focus is on building real wealth through the management of a successful portfolio of gold stocks. With a lifetime of knowledge and almost 12 years of writing his informative weekly newsletter, The Gold Report, Tom O'Brien can provide you with the important market information to help you make better trades in the gold market. Don't let the next bull run in gold pass you by. To get a month-long free trial to The Gold Report, an $85 value, visit the front page of TFNN.com today.
David White's newsletter, The Technology Insider, is focused like a laser on finding the next big things in technology. If you had invested only $10,000 in Microsoft in 1986, you'd have been a millionaire by 2000. Disruptive technology like Microsoft's is the key to these massive long-term profits, and the Tech Insider is the vehicle from TFNN to capitalize on these opportunities. This is the go-to newsletter that identifies, monitors, and profits on mostly little-known cutting-edge companies with great long-term prospects. David's experience is as an inventor of Emmy-winning animation products for TV and Hollywood that propelled a company public. Match that with 14 years as a full-time trader, and he's uniquely qualified to guide you through the light-speed world of ever-evolving high-tech. If you're ready to ride the next big technology bull market for less than $40 per month, log on to TFNN.com and get your 2-week free trial to the Technology Insider. Get in on the ground floor of the next big thing today.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, host of the Trader's Edge, heard daily at TFNN.com and author of Mastering Probability, a daily investment and trading newsletter service that I send out each morning by 8 a.m. My morning newsletter service covers exactly what the markets have been doing since last night's close, providing you with an edge on your trading day ahead. You get actionable trading ideas, including the exact entry, stop, and profit targets. Plus, I'll teach you the patterns and hidden market correlations that will make you a better trader. As a subscriber, you'll gain access to my 90-minute money management workshop, where I'll teach you the secrets that'll save your assets. The bottom line, I've got your back, including a 30-day money-back guarantee. See for yourself the type of analysis I provide each trading day by signing up for Mastering Probability today. With nothing to lose, this is an offer you should not pass on. Mastering Probability can be found under Trading Newsletters on the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
Yes, it is wimpy. Quanta Services gap down on the 16th of October, 24,400,000 shares. Tried to get back into this gap on June 8th with 3.7 million shares. And, of course, 1 million shares today. So watch this one closely. I'm pretty partial to waiting for stocks above 30 bucks. But this looks fairly decent. And your target would probably be 21.60 and maybe a gap down there at 19 bucks. For a bigger trading range if the market rolls over and plays dead. Rackspace Holdings, kind of a nice test of its recent low of May 10th that had 7.9 million shares going back just a few days. It's continued to move up, but now it's in against a big gap down that happened on the 24th of June. And that day came down on, 3.4 million shares. Today, up on just 1 million shares that's going into this gap. So, some of these things are fizzling like bad fireworks on the 4th of July. Red Hat, don't see a lot in that. TJ Maxx was testing and is testing this high. I heard John Logan talking about it this morning, or this whole sector. And this is probably the strongest one of the bunch. I wanted to see how this one actually performed today. $79.20 on April 4th, 4.7 million shares. 2.8 million shares on Friday. Today, just 1.9 million shares so far. So again, a lot of stocks up here at the highs. Very entertaining if this market decides to take a powder. Question in the den. No, not in the den, in the email. Yes, Dana White, I am very distantly related to, and he owned what, almost 10% of the of that cage fight matching thing that sold for $4 billion. But I have never met him. I just know that we are distantly related. But I have hair and he does not. So there. Let him put that 10% of $4 billion, and maybe I'd shave my head, but I don't know. Vanguard 500 index, some of these ETFs, wanted to see how these things busted their highs June 8th. What is it? Yeah, Dana White. That's it. He was the, not WWE, what is that? What is that cage fight match thing? Ultimate Fighter? I think that's what it's called now, isn't it? Ultimate Fighter? June 8th, 194.95, 2.8 million shares, just 1.8 million shares. So you want to see how a few of these ETFs close out today as they do go over the previous highs. The Vanguard Total Market ETF, the VTI, a little bit better picture on this one, up just a little higher. And the Vanguard VTV, this one a little more bearish of a picture. June 8th, 1.3 million shares at 85.86. Today it's gone above it with 500,000 shares. So I think we can probably say maybe 50% by today. Volume is probably going to come in at about 75 to 80%. Maybe everybody's waiting for Alcoa just to see what happens, but we got a lot of stocks here on the tipping point. A lot of these Vanguard funds have all shown signs of topping out here. So it'll be very interesting to see how these things go. And of course, if you're planning a big venture across the country, Windstream Holdings, WIN, another one with light volume. We'll talk more about that one tomorrow. In the meantime, sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time. UFC, yeah, MMA. Thanks.
Larry Pesavento has just started his brand new service, Fibonacci 24/7, and he's already delivering content to his subscribers on a daily basis when the market's opened and even on weekends. Each Monday, you'll receive Larry's written report that provides detailed commentary and a summary on the charts and videos that Larry sends out. And throughout the week, when warranted, Larry will send out via charts or videos or both the key markets that he is watching during the day. This will be up-to-the-date active trading information that will help you in your daily trading. In Larry's first week alone, he sent out 25 charts, 6 videos, and a full report to his subscribers in just 1 week. If you're a technical trader that uses patterns and retracements to trade, then Larry's service Fibonacci 24/7 is something that you must try. Right now, new subscribers can get a full 30-day money-back guarantee. With nothing to risk, sign up now to Larry Pesavento's Fibonacci 24/7 by visiting the front page of TFNN.com under Trading Newsletters.
You're watching Tiger TV.